evening, and welcome to Community, where young black, gay, and bisexual men have unfiltered, candid conversations and spill it all on sex, relationships, community empowerment, race, identity, and everything in between, okay? We are here on behalf of United Black Element. UBE exists to enable young, black, same-gender loving men ages 18 to 35 to fulfill their greatest potential for good. We are creating ways for young men to come together, meet, socialize, and learning to support one another. So if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and in need of free HIV syphilis testing or HIV testing or PrEP or any of that, give us a call at our number 214-393-3700, okay? We have a good show today. We are going to be talking about like intergenerational relationships and dating outside of your age brackets, and like mentorships and things like that. Ooh,
my topic I can speak on.
Oh, you ready for it?
Sugar baby.
Sugar baby. All right, guys. So in the comments today, we want to know what do you think an appropriate age gap is for yourself. This is speaking for you. We ain't, we're gonna let everybody do what they do. But what do you think is appropriate?
If they ain't dead, let's go.
That's where you at?
Anna Nicole.
That's your
my baby's givers like hot. That's what we're trying to do.
I'm really curious, Jamil, as to like how far you'll go.
Well, when I was 18, like I was involved with a guy that was like 52. So I mean, that's a very drastic age
I've done
difference.
something like that too.
But I would say like I really don't have too much of it, but I feel like the older that I'm getting, the age gap is getting smaller and smaller. So it's kind of like I still have the same type of taste for the same men, but me being, closer to their age is a lot, a lot closer these days. But yeah, I mean, I like an older man, but I don't have a daddy complex. I have my daddy in my life. They're still alive too, so y'all, I don't have a daddy complex. But my dad is older than my mom, so I guess I get it from my mama.
I would say for me, it's as long as you're not older than my parents, then I guess that's. Or at least if y'all didn't listen to like the same music, or like y'all can't have too much in common, like where y'all experience the same, civil rights movement or something. It's like it's just at some point.
Oh my God, civil rights movement.
We gotta have more in common than you and my mom.
How old are your parents, child?
Well, she's my mother turned 60 and my dad is 61.
See, my grandmother just turned 60.
Well, okay.
Right.
Because my mom's a lot younger than that.
My mom a lot younger than that, yeah.
So that's all. But you.
I am willing to overlook a lot of things as long as I really like someone. But where my mind goes to is like 10 years. I'm willing to date up further than I'm willing to date down.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah,
No
baby. Only be
babies.
like 3 months younger than me.
Not 3 months.
That's it.
3 months.
I'd rather rob the grave than the cradle.
Okay, we're gonna go over there and then we're gonna come back to me.
Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah, I'm the same with Sam. Like I would prefer to date about 10 years older. Have I been with others outside of that? Yes, I have. Yeah.
I didn't say that I preferred 10 years older. I said that's my cap.
Come on, Clarity.
No cap? Come on.
I mean, as opposed to dating older or younger, that's what I would do.
For me, I view it in two terms. I view it in dating and I view it in sex.
Right.
So if we're gonna be talking about sex, as long as you are in between my age and I'll say about 45, we good. And in my experience, like older men, like the latter 30s, early 40s have amazing sex, and they have the type of sex to the point to where like it's just sex, and that's all it is. Like We don't need the extra. We don't need the drama.
Oh, that's it.
We gonna fuck, and that's gonna be it. And if I wanna fuck you, I'm gonna let you know that's what I want, when I want it, and how I want it. So for me, I like the directiveness that older men give as it relates to sex. But when it comes to dating, just based off of who I am and like where I want to go in life, I need somebody more on my level, and I need somebody who still has goals that they want to achieve based off of ambition, and like people who are climbing the ladder and not necessarily already at the top of the ladder. Because I feel like whenever I do get into a relationship, I want there to be some type of growth within myself and within that person from all aspects. And I think that would be more inclined to find that with somebody more or less around my age range. I do not do younger guys because one, I think I'm pretty far in life where I am now, given my age. So like guys my age, I really don't even like because they can't come to it like I can come to it. So most of the guys that I do like or pursue now are in their latter 20s. So like maybe, because I just turned 26. So maybe like 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. When it comes to like me wanting to date them and get to know them, but when it comes to sexual prowess and sexual identity and sexuality, just sex, anywhere between 26 to I would say about 45. But that latter age group, those 35s to 45s, have some amazing, maybe some good shit.
Damn.
Well, they done had all their life to perfect it.
Exactly, they don't
All of yours.
gobble me,
If you
swallow
that
me.
age, baby, you better have something to bring.
Right.
Especially men with kids. Oh, I love a man with a child my age.
You feel like you're doing something wrong.
So, for me, I'm gonna be 35 this year at the end of the year.
Ooh.
And
Hell.
I know, right? And I like older men typically, but I will go younger. I'm like Aaliyah, age is nothing but a number. But the thing is, it has to be legal, a legal age for,
So 18.
yeah, so 18 and up.
Because they can't buy cigarettes and stuff almost
Right.
21.
But you gotta realize too, I was raised by my grandmother who is 90. So when I was growing up in Oklahoma, most of the people I was around were older people. So most people would say that I have an old soul. So I tend to go with the older men. I know my relationship of 5 years, he's now 57. But when I dated him, he was 49. And I was in my 20s. So I'm okay with dating an older man. Like you said, the experience sexually, the things that they have taught me, based on the things that they have done before I was even probably alive, it's really helped me be who I am today.
What, sex?
Then a fine ass older man. You know how you have like them old men who be like 42, 43, but you look at them, you like, damn, you look like you 30.
Oh, you look
That's
like
my
you just got out of college.
That's my judge.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
live for that.
And they done really set into their body, physique, and structure. You got
Yes.
grown men.
Mm.
Okay, I
love
see
that.
you.
Yeah, so so as y'all, most of y'all know, if y'all know me, y'all know I love older men. The largest age gap.
You know he open enrollment.
It's been like a
Fine,
20-something year
yeah.
age gap before. So I mean, it's probably been more than that too. But I don't know the exact ages. I'm not gonna sit here and do the math. But I'm definitely not going younger. I'm definitely not at all. I don't even like anything my age. So sex, like you said, is two different ones. Sex, like I can do somebody my age, we can have sex and then go about our business. But when it comes to like wanting to settle down and date somebody, they're usually over at least 35. Yeah, I mean, I'm 28 now, but I was 19 dating like a 33-year-old, which that's not Jamil's age gap, but so yes, no younger than 30 that I'm really gonna do anything with you.
I was gonna say I don't too much care for guys younger than me, whether it's sex or dating.
Either way.
Oh wow, but my man is he younger than me, but only about 3 months. No, but it's like a year and something. Like he just turned 29 November. I turned 30 in August. But he is mature. He's degreed. He's a teacher, so he's a mature 29. But I can't do little boys. But typically, it would probably be about 20 years. Like when I'm 30, I would date a 50-year-old right now. I would even have sex with a 50-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah, them balls just gotta work.
What the bombs?
I just think for me, it's just I don't want to miss out on something by putting a box into what age range I want my man to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, I was raised by a 90-year-old, so I feel like I matured more. I matured quicker as far as being the oldest child and then raised by an older African American woman. So when I see a older man, there's been times like the older man that I dated, because it was new to him to be in this lifestyle, he was still trying to do what the 21 and 22-year-olds were doing.
Exactly.
That's
true.
So when you said that, it caused me to think about my statement, and I thought about like redacting something. What I said. No, because I think that, granted, yes, age is a big factor, but the mentality and maturity level at the age, because I had to go back and think about myself. Granted, like I'm young, right? But I think that in comparison to other people my age, there's a type of mentality that I have that elevates me over other individuals my age, right? So I can't say that this is what I like and expect older people to want me based off my mentality, if that's something that I'm not willing to be just as transparent about in the things that I like. So that's why I chose to redact my statement, because I can't expect somebody to want me if I don't even want myself.
Well, no, that's not true. Because just because you don't want a 25-year-old, that doesn't mean that an older person is not going to want a 25-year-old. It's like you can still want someone older and not expect for them to not want you, I guess, because you're. No,
because there's some men who are older who specifically date younger, and there's some people who
But what I said was that I typically do not date guys younger than me based off of the things that I've achieved and the level that I am in life, right? Mm-hmm. And so for guys who have the same mindset that I have, who say the same thing, it's like that leaves me out. I'm that younger individual. Mm-hmm. So in that case, I'm always having to plead my case and say, hey, I'm different, right? So what I was saying was that like I can't make a statement like that if I want somebody to accept me to be that mature individual and to look at me as being more mature than my age, and that's something that I'm not willing to do as I pursue dating and relationships, right? Because I was like, they're having guys that I think they're having guys younger than myself that I've been attracted to, because when it comes to like the way of thinking and how they move and how they operate, it was so smooth and effortlessly that it gave me as if they were older than me, myself, and how put together they were, right? So like when Jamal brought it up, like, you know, I can't put an age to quantify something that I like because it's based off of the way people think. Because you can have a guy who came out in his 50s, but his mentality can be the mentality of an 18-year-old gay boy who just experienced it in the world. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because he has that age limit that he wants, but that mentality is what's fucked up. You know, so I had to really think about this.
You know what? Based off of what y'all are saying, I can relate and I can agree with the idea of adjusting your standards or being more flexible with them as you change and grow, because for a long time I wanted anyone that I'd be dating to be my age or older. But what's been happening in the past few years is that the guys that have been coming after me and the guys that things have been working out better with have been younger than me. And I don't know what's in the water, I don't know what type of air I've been breathing, but it's been consistently, it's been consistently guys younger than me that's been interested in me. And at first it was annoying because I'm like, oh, I want to be the younger one, I don't want to be the old whatever relationship. But more often than not, they've actually lived lives that have caused them to be baked through a little bit more, so to speak. So I really wanted to sprinkle that into the conversation. I get it.
Okay, so with that and then with what you said, because a lot like you, like I was raised by like my great grandmother, so like my grandpa's mother for the most part. And so I mean my mom and they were all there, but like I was with her a lot of the time. So I would like, you know, and also like my father again wasn't around, so like what Julia said, like he don't have no daddy issues or whatever. So like I definitely do. And then like you said, with the way you were raised, so do you think like daddy issues or like you say your childhood and the way you were raised plays a part in the type of people that you like? Because I never, like I said, I have daddy issues and I like older men. Now I've never said like that's the reason But
But you feel like it could play a part into why you like older men.
I mean, maybe.
Well, go ahead.
Well,
Talk
for
first.
me, right. Go ahead.
First talk.
Well, I'm the experience.
I think of how I was brought up, or like the conditions of my lifestyle, does contribute to why I may prefer older men opposed to younger men. Because the way I grew up, I was the oldest. I was the only child for the longest. Just about in every situation I had to be in, I had to kind of like problem solve. It's like my dad was deployed overseas or something like that. And so I'm just at the place where it's like, then even here working with UB and being the team lead and stuff like that, it's just like, I kind of want somebody to take that, because I've always been put in situations where I've had to be the responsible one. So I kind of want to be irresponsible a little bit. I mean, I'm a pretty responsible person, because I mean, just the way that I've lived, I've always cultivated boundaries to where I can stay, on track. But as far as like, I want to let loose sometimes and not have to think about, does this affect anybody else? Like.
Well, I thought you like people to call you daddy.
They do, and I mean, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that, but like, when I think about like how I view a relationship, like what I want, like I want to be able to like let loose, and I'm gonna just be honest, in a lot of the romantic stuff that
You want to call somebody daddy?
Maybe. I want us to be able to call each other dad. Like it shouldn't be a one way, like
You're versatile now.
someone's depending on me all the time. No, that's not what that means.
It's like every episode, he's coming about.
The very first episode he said he was top, but the last episode he said he'll be willing to get fucked.
Yeah, so he became versatile last episode. Now this episode,
No, you see, y'all narrative writing, y'all love doing
Child,
that.
by Friendsgiving, you're gonna be a pound bottom.
I'm telling you,
By season,
new show idea called Topping Lava. Lava on top.
Y'all take Oprah Winfrey gift.
I was gonna say to your question. So for me, I don't think, because when I brought up the statement about like mentality and like the way of thinking, for me it is based off how I was raised as an issue of stability for me, and so traditionally older guys can offer me more stability, right? And so that's the way I've always thought. But like going back to my statement, I think it's about the mentality that people have that could bring around a sense of stability. Because growing up, like I'm an only child, and so I had both parents in my household, and so my parents were blue collar working individuals. And sometimes stuff would get cut off. Sometimes we wouldn't have certain things. Sometimes we went without. And so growing up, I saw how hard my dad worked, and even though he worked as hard, sometimes his all wasn't just enough. So I grew up thinking that, Chris, I have to be more than enough, right? Which is why, like, sometimes I can be cocky and I can place a lot of value on myself, because in my head, I think that, Chris, I have to be more than enough in order to be secure. And so when I look for people to talk to or date, that's something that I look for, is that stability. I want guys who are like me, who can be more than enough of what I need to make sure that I'm gonna always be okay. Because growing up, I was not always okay. And I always told myself that was somewhere in a place where I never wanted to go back to.
So for me, the whole daddy issue and dating older men, my father was in my life up until 18 maybe. So like my parents split up when I was a junior in high school. And I like older men now, but I remember being a little kid and having a dream of Michael Jordan doing something.
Mounting you.
He was shooting the basket. And
Yeah, he was.
so it's like, so I feel like that I've always craved men older than me, even as a little girl, and so I can't say that it's really, I can't really say that is
Over it.
that is a daddy issue thing, because
Yours was
yeah, I don't think that it is, but it's like, but now I kind of feel like that I kind of have daddy issues, but although I don't pay attention to the man no more,
Right.
that is kind of an issue. So I'm like, is it something that I'm missing or that I'm longing to have? I don't know.
Even though I said I was raised by my grandmother, my dad was in the picture. Let me say, not my biological dad, but my stepdad, who y'all got to meet last week. my dad was in the picture, and I think for me, it's no daddy issue, but I want some man that is similar to what my dad showed me growing up. Because my dad, to your point, provided the stability. He provided the things that, you know, I can provide for myself because I'm in that position too, but I would love to have a man that could be similar to what my dad was to me growing up. Not in the sexual sense, I mean, that's not what I'm talking about, but in the sense of the things that he did. And my dad doesn't drink, smoke, cuss, that type of thing. He set a good example, so I want a man that can be an example for what I want in my household. Because y'all know I did just buy a new house. So,
She gonna make sure she throw that in.
Right. But you know what?
Oh.
So what you said made me think of something. So there's this experiment within like psychology called like the bubble doll experiment, and it talks about like stimuli and the things that you're introduced to over time, and so how you can be introduced to things and you can start it becomes a part of your subconscious. And so when you see that stimuli, something in relation to the stimuli, you elicit the same reaction or you elicit the same response. For example, within the Bobo doll experiment, there was this scientist, and he took a Bobo doll and a whistle and a child, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, or it was a Bobo doll, a mouse, and a child.
It was a rodent or something.
But yeah, it was a rodent, and so he had the doll, right? And so every time he would present the baby with the doll, he would also present a mouse. And so the mouse and the doll would scare the child, right? They couldn't decide if it was the mouse or the doll that would scare the child, right? And so he did that every so often. So at one point he took away the doll and just added the mouse. So every time the child would see the child would scream. Then over a period of time he took away the mouse and added a small rodent. Every time that the rodent would appear, he would scream. So like over time he subconsciously associated the fear of that dog with small rodents. And I think that a lot of times, based off how we experience things growing up with our relationships with our fathers or the paternal figures in our life, we subconsciously associate those things to other points in life, and we tend to look for those gaps that we missed or we fail to receive, but we don't realize them because over time we've been conditioned to look for these things.
Yeah,
and so because it's embedded in our mind and in our socialization, subconsciously, we're not aware of how we act and what we look for within these situations. I see you looking at me. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know you know.
To say he wanted to say something earlier.
That too, and all of that is interesting. What I have to say feeds into that. So far, we've been talking about how our fathers have influenced the type of men we're looking for, whether it's the qualities as a person or whether there are even sexual aspects that we find appealing. But for me, for the most part, I grew up without a dad. And with my mom being a single parent for most of the time, the only thing I would know about my biological father are just bits and pieces that were mainly filtered through her. What I do know is that he was a really bad alcoholic, and that's actually the thing that ended up killing him. And what I can say, especially seeing other family members in my family who also ended up marrying alcoholics, dating alcoholics, I do consider alcohol to be a drug because I graduated from the DARE program. So I can be very straight edge about that because I've seen what it's done to my family, and I've seen what it's done to certain relationships close to me, and I want to distance myself from that. But then also, with me growing up without a dad for the most part, I had a stepdad for like this long. It's almost like I have to make up the type of man I want to be with or experiment. It's almost like I have to go into a workshop instead of having a template that I can base things off of. So there's all kinds of trial and error and just asking myself, is this what I want? Or why is it? And then something else, like growing up with a single parent is interesting because when I imagine myself making major life decisions, there was one point in time that I didn't even want kids because I was imagining myself raising my children by myself as opposed to with somebody else.
Me too.
Wow. Even as men.
Which is so weird because I always said that I want kids no matter what, even if I'm by myself or with somebody else. And I came from a 2-parent household, but you coming from a 1, it's like the opposite. Like, it's cool.
That's happy.
I think another thing too that we gotta call into play for this is most of the older guys don't look their age.
True.
I love them.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we gotta call that out too. These guys are really taking great care of themselves.
And both
It's that good thing where we say black don't crack and beige don't age.
But it's shit.
But you know what? And I think
That's shit.
that, and then there's an added layer on top of that with being like gay black men, and like the archetype that gay black men take care of themselves really well too. For me, I just like when I compare, like when I look at 40-year-old heterosexual cisgender black men, and I compare them to 40-year-old homosexual cisgender black men.
Oh yeah.
The
It's
gay
a
black
night and
men,
day difference.
the gay black men do it for me. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to style, when it comes to staying in shape, when it comes to being healthy, when it comes to just life in general, just like overall progression, they take the cake.
Yeah.
They take the cake, huh?
They take the cake.
Okay.
And they
There you
get
have it
the cake,
again,
I take it.
man.
I'ma just give it
And
to
if
them.
you're the right one, if you're the right one, you can have all this red velvet.
Who?
Okay. Girl, that is devil's food.
No,
Yeah.
red velvet with
Okay.
cream cheese with a lot of nut on the inside.
Okay, so
That's sickening. Is it non-GMO?
Damn.
right.
Nah, bitch, I got all the gluten, hoe.
So, of course, in our community, we know that it's very common for younger men to be with older men, and it's often the older men are often looked at as like the predator. So I mean, because even like straight people used to say, I ain't really heard them, but of course, gay men, they like little boys, like they always make it seem like
Oh, they gave me a sexual
pedophile, predators or something like that. But of course, we all know that ain't the
But
case.
that's not
But those
true.
really
Wow.
be
Men like y'all
the
got
closeted men.
That part.
The
But I also
heterosexual
want
men
to turn it
is the
around the other way because we do have younger people that prey on
Older
older
men.
men like Jamil that want that financial stability or that like just stability in general. So what do you have to say for yourself?
How's your savings account?
That's odd.
Right, it's flipped and everything.
It's flip, girl. Like she's cute. My savings account is cute, girl.
Yes.
And baby,
I mean, 'cause
my
it's
mama
like-
has had to do that without a man. Like for me personally, though, it's like I will look for a guy with, of course, financial stability because you can't be that old with no money. I'm sorry, that's and out. Goodbye. Go on to someone else. But like I mean even credit, all of that stuff like that, mentality, maybe worldly possessions, but as long as the bank account is beautiful, that's all that matters. But like even though I look for that in them, that's not something that that's my sole thing of being with them, because at the end of the day I have to take into account that I am a man,
Right.
and that I need to accomplish my own things in my own life. And it's more so, I like dating older guys because it's also more so a motivation
Correct.
of me getting to where I would want to be by myself. So, and then often I've had a few relationships that I've let go more so because I felt like I wasn't living up enough, not because of my age, but it was because of where I was in my life, even though my age, I'm very well past a lot of people in my age range, but it's like I was comparing myself to me being a older guy in a sense, and which is interesting. But
It is, girl.
But also too, I started dating guys here, in Dallas recently, over the last year or two, that have been younger than me, and it's like I've only come across one guy, maybe two, that are actually kind of even keeled with me there, of like knowing, okay, I want to go financially, my goals to be accomplished, and I bring this already to the table. So but yeah, like I wouldn't say that I would want that because I didn't want to be controlled by it, because also too in intergenerational relationships and everything, because of where one person is and versus the other person, sometimes certain abuses can come into play as well. And that was something that I wasn't going to go for because I didn't have to ever go for that,
But it's different for me in the sense because being on both sides of the spectrum, where I dated younger and he had more than the person I dated that was older, when you look at it in the greater scheme of things, for me, if I can't take you at your worst, then I don't want you at your best. If I like you, you know what I mean? Because we all have room to grow. Because I remember at one point in time, where I'm at today is not where I was 10 years ago. Even 5 years ago, let's talk about that. I was unemployed 5 years ago. So I get it, right? I get it, but at the end of the day, people can grow from where they are to something greater. And I think that's the thing when we're in relationships or any kind of ship. Basically, we have that room to grow. So I'm willing to let you grow, not by the things I can give you, but by the things as far as monetary, but as far as advice and things of that nature, I'm cool with that. And there have been several people that I've dated or even came in contact with, either sexually or dating, that has happened where they grew into a bigger, better person.
I think,
Go ahead, Love.
I was gonna say, I think also what distincts like a younger person that's more mature from a younger person that's immature, where it makes it kind of like you were saying, like more even keel with you, is there has to be a man with a plan. I know it's cliche, but if you don't have any kind of strategy and I get there's some people out there that, you know, they kind of, you know, just live life and flow. That's cool and all, that's not for me, but you can really spot the difference between like younger people who have a plan, like, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that, opposed to, like, just imagine it, like when someone asks you, hey, what do you want? And you're able to make a decision quickly, opposed to somebody who's just like,
That's irritating.
right, so just think of that like in a bigger picture, like those types of younger people turn me the hell on.
So for me, it's not the plan, it's the implementation of the plan. Because everyone has a dream. Because if you do not have a dream, you're not living life, from my opinion. Because everybody has a place where they want to be. Because the drive of human tendency is to be further than what we are. It's to not to be complacent or content with life. We always want something, right? But how are we going to get to what you want? So for me, it's that implementation plan. What steps are you actively taking presently to get to where you say you want to go? Okay, so you want to do this. Well, what are you doing? Are you saving towards that? Are you going to school for that? Are you changing your surroundings and your settings? You know, but the plan, but it's the implementation.
But sometimes, I guess what I'm saying, sometimes a person might be kind of like down on luck where they're not able. They're not able to. They might not. You might have walked in on a chapter where they're not able to do that just yet. So I'm not going to count you out as a person because, like kind of like Jamal said with that whole growth thing, they might be in a position where they can't do that. However, the plan is okay. Now we can get on track. And you kind of have like a map or whatnot of what you want to do.
So to kind of put what all of y'all said together and speak for myself, like as a younger person that like dating younger men, it was never like I'm with you because I want your money or I'm with you because I necessarily want your stability, but just you being older and you having your stability and you having those things challenges me to get there in my eyes. And that's what always really kind of turned me on is I want somebody that's really going to push me to my limits and make me want to be better. Because if I'm with you and we both at the same place, that doesn't really do anything for me as a person. Because like, I don't know if y'all know me, like I really enjoy like doing a lot of different things. I have several jobs, businesses. I'm doing like, I love to have my hands in a lot of different things. And so I need somebody that's like ready for all of that too. And then like I said, there's someone that's really gonna challenge my mind and push me to push everything that I'm doing. And so like I said, I don't really care about your money necessarily. Like, I want you to be stable, but I'm not saying you have to just be paying all my bills, because I'm gonna do that regardless.
I may be a predator because for me it's like though I do like older men and the whole stability and such. I feel like there's an inside lab going on, but it's like with older men, the whole stability and all of that turns me on. But me also knowing that, like I said before, that I'm a performer, so my income is not that great because I'm busy booking shows. I'm doing other shit where I'm having to take off work. So having someone that had the salary or 9 to 5, like your stuff is more stable than mine. And if that man understands, because I am, hey, I'm an actor, just like in my interviews, I'm an actor, this is what I do. I want to always have the time to put in the 40 hours a week. Are you okay with that? Yes, you are. You don't mind paying a couple of my bills? That's cool. Okay. I'm a cook, I'm a clean, you know, the things. We gonna take care of the things we're supposed to do in that relationship. So not necessarily a predator, but if I'm gonna talk to you older, I'm gonna need you to have those things. You can't be an older person and still be trying to figure shit out like I'm still trying to figure shit out.
And you said that you have a younger man right now that's 3 months younger than you that's giving you those things that an older man could give you. So that's why I always tell people it doesn't matter about the age.
Yeah.
It shouldn't. For me, it doesn't.
It's the maturity.
Yeah.
It's the maturity level. So most of us have said that we do or have dated older. And so I guess, I'm trying to pose this question. How do you tell the difference of like an older man that's like genuinely interested or like an older man that is like a predator?
Thank you. I was hoping we would get to this. Go ahead.
We'll go first.
Right?
I was like, are we really not going to talk about
Oh no, we were getting there. I was trying to, be fun a little bit, then we get serious.
Oh my God, like I have personal experience of that. I remember I was like 15, 16, and there was this man in his 40s that was obsessed with my virginity to the point that he contacted me last year because he saw me on an app and told me that he couldn't rest. He's been thinking about it for years. Who was the one who finally took your virginity? How did you lose it?
That's creepy as
isn't it?
I'm flattered.
That's creepy to the point like, was he lying?
Send me $250 and I'll tell you.
Tell you the story live and in color.
So you're a predator too.
No.
But I mean, like, long story short, it is a common theme within our community that many of us have been very young, and there was an older man that came into our lives and took advantage of our naivete, took advantage of us being in a tough spot, took advantage of us not, especially if we're first coming out, not knowing so much about this new world that we're coming into. And I know that whenever I see a person who's newly coming out, so whether they're a young, gay, experience-wise, or especially chronologically, what I think is, oh my God, I hope the right person makes it to them first before the wrong one does.
You know, funny because I was trying to think on that, but I feel like that it was more of guys who were around my age and knew that I was new. They had been in the gay world 5-6 years, and I was new. I feel like it was them that were actually trying to take advantage of me more.
Then the people that were just older.
Then the older man.
I think the older people would typically drop that L word quicker.
Oh, really?
They would drop it quicker because So in my experience, to Sam's point, from my experience, I think the guys that I had met, they would drop that L word to think that, okay, he's gonna, if I tell him I love him, then he's gonna basically fall head over heels for me, and I'm gonna get to do the things that I want to do with him because I'm dropping this L word and I'm putting it down the way that he needs it put down.
Because for me, I know like that wouldn't have worked for me only because because I grew up with my parents and all of us saying we love each other every time we end the phone. Oh, I love you. And it's so natural that I tell friends I love you. Even if I am dating someone, if I feel like I have love, I would tell them I love you. Now sometimes I have to watch myself.
When I'm dating you though, I try to hold my tongue on that one.
Yeah, that L word.
Well, I just.
But I mean, it's different though with that one because I mean I had that too. But the thing is, this is talking about when you get into that sexual and all these things because sex can cloud things, and whenever it clouds it, and they say that L word, it's like, boom.
See, for me, because I have been doing this for about almost 10 years now, and no shade or no tea, and because I am who I am, a lot of times, like a lot of older guys will come on to me, like I can tell what they're about based off what they'll say to me and how they'll do stuff and like how their initial reaction is. If they come to me and the first thing they're going for, you hugging me and your hands go below my waist, I already know what you're about.
Absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
1, 2, if in the first, if you looking at me and you want to buy me a drink and you don't even ask me about my name, I know what you're about. And so also often like with me meeting older guys, the narrative for me has always been, oh, I meet an older guy and he'll offer me this, that, and that, and try to get me hooked. But unaware to the fact of me being at a young age, knowing who I am and being able to live a lifestyle that I like to live on my own amounts and based off my own means, and then realizing I don't need you.
And they get less attractive.
Right, and when I tell them, hey, I can do this on my own, I don't need you. Oh, I don't hear from you. I don't hear from you again.
Right. They're like a victim.
Right, and so
Somebody can manipulate
exactly. So I
The
think
financial
that, and just in my experience, just with previous mentors within the gay community, with previous mentors in the gay community, and them wanting to be my mentor based off of them feeling like they can fill a void in my life based off of what they thought I was, or based off who they wanted to be, who they wanted me to be, but when they realized I wasn't, and I was an individual who knew who I was, and I was not going to let them to control. I was not going to allow them to control me and keep me in the box they were trying to put me in. It became an issue, and then that relationship became very toxic, and they wanted to make me feel like less than a person that I was now. And now today that I've excelled and I've become the man that I am, now they try to come back and be my friend when they see I'm farther than they were in the original place.
Tag them.
So, okay.
Well, too, sometimes at the bar, whenever they do go below the waist, it could be that arthritis.
Girl, you saying like their hands feel like they couldn't keep it up no more?
Oh wait, I'm sorry, I didn't say that.
Well, my thing, so if your arthritis is that bad to where you can't control your hands, I know you can't control none of this, so it ain't nothing. We can do it together.
Have you dealt with guys that be like, they like you for who you are, but your age is what is the issue for them? Because I've gotten guys to where, because I carry myself a certain way, because I speak a certain way, because I am the person that I am. No, girl, I don't put on because I have it, girl. But I have it. But regardless,
She's got it.
Period. No, but even then, to where like the age has become the issue, and then or it'll create like an insecurity because you're youthful or because you are young, then you have the opportunity to leave me because I'm ailing or I'm getting not ailing, but I'm aging more so.
My God.
I think that is a big fear and insecurity that older men have when it comes to dating. Because I've seen it. I've seen it happen so many times where you have this older man dating this younger guy, and like this older man is so into this guy, but he's so insecure about the younger guy meeting someone younger, meeting someone more attractive, meeting someone who's more equal to them in the stage of life. And because of those insecurities, that old person becomes toxic very quickly and starts to do things to trigger the person that they're with, unconsciously triggering them to make them feel as though they need them, right? And like trying to pull like these big major moves to keep them in a situation. Like when we talk about like financial abuse, like that's where that comes from, right? So like, okay, well, I'm scared that you're gonna leave me, so I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna focus your finances so you can't go nowhere, because I feel like that you are gonna do that. So if you ain't got no money, or if I limit you, you're gonna have to stay, right? Or I'm gonna break you down mentally because I see the potential in you, and I don't want anybody else to see that potential because I'm afraid that if they do, you will leave me. So I'm gonna make you feel less than mentally. So I'm gonna focus your mental problems and your emotions as well.
So okay, I was gonna say earlier that I feel like young people do that shit too.
It's not for older men you can't find nobody better than me, or I'm hot.
Exactly. Honestly, I've had my share of older men, and I have just never experienced anything where the man was trying to be a predator. I've actually experienced more where guys either younger than me, most of the time younger than me, and somewhere closer to my age, where they're actually being manipulative and all of that shit. I remember the first guy that the first older guy that I talked to on BGC actually introduced me to UB, and he really set the tone of brotherhood and all of that. Unfortunately, he was in a relationship with one of the coordinators, but either way, he exposed me.
What years, girl?
She
She said BGC, so Circle 20, 2009.
No,
2009.
when we
See,
were,
man, you just told how young you were, because I was graduating from high school. Oh, wait.
I'm
That was-
young. I'm 26.
Okay, but anyway,
How old are you?
the oldest guy,
She said that
he brought me into UB space, and I really set the tone of seeing how great black gay men are. So he really did put me on, although he was playing off on this dude. He was the one that put me on and exposed me to UB, like the best place that you could be exposed to as a young gay. The older gay brought me into this space.
Go ahead.
I would say this, in college, I did student leadership. So I got to travel for my university, and one of the student leaderships that I went to a conference in Kansas, one of the keynote speakers was speaking at an event, and I went up to him because I really enjoyed what he said, and I asked him like for an autograph to sign his book, and he basically came up to me and he signed the book and he asked to meet for coffee. So I'm like, oh, okay, this guy that I really think is cool, not knowing that he was DL, basically hit me up and he preyed on me, and he basically was like, hey, you want to come up to the hotel room? And I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. Like, then he also basically said that if I went with him, I'm not going to say the state that he's in, but it was a different state than what I lived in. If I was transferred to that university, I could stay with him and he would pay for all my expenses, buy me a car, all kinds of stuff like that. Basically, he wanted me to be his trophy. And so, to your point, it's happened to me more often than not, but that's one that sticks out of my mind because that was something that I would never forget. And then even when I said no, the things that were said to me, it broke me there for a minute.
And then also too, actually, when I said that about the older guy, it can also be the younger guy as well. Like, especially if you know that the person is into people who are younger, your age, everybody ages. So at some point, feeling like, okay, you're gonna leave me, for someone else.
Yeah.
Okay, so final question. So I just want to you're 34 and you're the youngest. So as you get older, do you feel like it's gonna shift? Like you're gonna be the old man that likes younger men?
No.
No, I'll be single by then if I don't.
You can be single by then?
A single parent, a BABYMA.
This goes out to all my baby mamas. I got love
Yes, Jamil.
for all my baby mamas.
Girl, the bangs. Oh.
Okay. So you're not gonna be the older man at the club trying to buy the drinks and get them.
I just know that when I get older, I'm still not gonna be attracted to me younger guys. Like, I mean, you can be hot. Now that's not true. That's
Because
not
by
true.
then I'm gonna be
'Cause there's
50
some
and that
guys that
30-year-old
just-
still gonna be fine.
Yeah, they're gonna be fine. They're gonna be hot. And they I won't want to jump down their balls. They want to jump down mine or something like that. But I mean, regardless, I don't know. I don't really see myself at this point right now. I don't see myself being that older person looking into somebody younger.
As of right now, because like I said, my age gap is like 30. Like my sweet spot is like 30 to 45. So it's like if I get over 45, is that still gonna be my sweet? Like, you get what I'm saying?
They better come after me.
It's
At that
scary.
point, I'm
It's
no
scary.
longer throwing out the
absolutely
bait.
scary. Because I'm like, as I get older, I don't think it's going to continue to go up. Because at
That's
some
what I'm
point,
saying.
you're
You
going
still
to
like-
reach my mother's age. And we can't have that.
But
We also
also,
reach.
I think that there's a fear of being alone within this community. Because I think that if there wasn't that fear of growing up of being alone, just given like a lot of the social discrimination and stigma that we face as we engage in relationships, that thought wouldn't be an issue. Like the idea of growing up and having to figure out if you're going to be attracted to folks that are younger than you or older than you.
I
but
feel
you're
like
gonna-
everybody has that thought.
everybody does have that thought, but I think that the heterosexual side of things is not as thought of as commonly as it is on our side of things, because it's more comfortable for them to be in like these relationships and be with partners for a more long-term basis, and because that's the norm, they don't tend to think in the way of aging and dating as we do. You know what I'm saying? Like for us, our biggest thing is that damn, am I gonna be that old man praying on the kids at the bar?
Right.
But for them, it's not. Am I gonna be that old ass single ass man? You know, but I know I can find me a woman my age, because that's. I mean, granted, that's something they probably think about, but not as much as we do, because there's this fear, this underlying fear within our community of growing old alone.
But
They
we also are
also,
ages
but they have, I mean,
community.
because you have women that are scared to grow alone because they don't have children yet, or they have families that they have to protect. I mean, heterosexual people, they worry about growing old alone for different reasons than us.
Right.
So I don't think that we do it more than they do. It's just, we just have different.
In the context of what I was saying as it relates to dating in like different age gaps. Like I know everybody has a fear of growing on alone, but like overwhelmingly our fear about growing old alone relates to dating.
But even the way that we view age and view the progression of our age is, I agree, it's a little different. Because I mean, we even say once you get over 25 in the gay world, girl, you old. And then when you 30, good luck.
Or if you been
you 40,
bitch, even if you've been in a gay relationship for over 6 months, bitch, y'all been together
Y'all been
for 10 years.
20 years.
I guess the lifespan is different.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of inequity. And when you think about like the typical age lifespan of a gay black man in comparison to a heterosexual cisgender black man, there's a big inequity and gap there too.
Is it?
I
didn't know that.
So like
What's
the life expectancy for a gay black man in today's society is somewhere around like 62, but in regards to like a heterosexual cisgender man, it's around like 70, 75.
That's a large gap.
Right. Well, I will say that hopefully when I get older, I will have my forever Valentine, because I'm not one to be at the clubs, so I don't really smoke. I rarely drink. I don't smoke.
Tell me, what they
Well, no, because he
I feel offended.
No, He has said basically when we be that guy at the club when we get older that's gonna be looking for younger men. I'm not really at the club right now, so I don't feel like I would be at the club.
Well, that's
as a
inclusive of the apps too, baby.
Right.
That's the club.
That's inclusive of the apps.
the first one.
That's how you shut that down. Inclusive of the apps.
Hold on, we keep talking over long enough.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
Yo,
Alicia.
the way that we talk about like what our age tolerance is, I think that will change over time, because like just if you take away the number or the age, the type of guy we're going to be attracted to is going to change over time. I would think. If you're still attracted to the same type of guy, you know, for 20 years, are you not changing? You know,
Right,
like, so it's like
yeah.
I think there's going to be circumstances that we go through that where certain age ranges plug into certain types of things. Where it's like, for example, we keep talking about stability. That came up a lot. We're going to eventually get to an age where stability, we already provide that. So it might be a situation where we're stable enough, we provide enough stability to where we might want somebody who's a little bit more happy-go-lucky.
Correct. And that's why I said, like, once you have that stability, it's no longer what you're looking for.
Right,
And
so-
therefore
Right.
that.
But
That's why you
change.
really want to go with someone younger because of.
So I think it's gonna change.
So I think something that you said did not sit with me correct, because you said
Make
that
it quick.
what I'm attracted to now is not going to be what I could potentially be attracted to once I get older. That is true, but I think for me, it's at the root of those core values. So for me, when it comes to like trying to date someone, even though I've never been in a relationship with a guy, when it's for me trying to date somebody, I'm looking at them and their core values. And so those core values are the core values that were taught to me by my parents and that I've seen, that I hold dear to my heart. So as I get older, those core values are always going to be there, right? But what the person does in their life and how they navigate the world is a physical representation of those core values that they would hold so dear. So I can't sit here and say that what I want in a person is going to change, because at the root of what I want are those core values, and that's something that I know is not going to change as I get older, because I know who I am and I know what I need.
Well,
That's true.
I wanted to contribute to this part of the conversation because what we're talking about isn't new, to the point that there's a vocabulary word for a term. It's called Peter Pan syndrome.
Come on, Peter Pan.
We have a protracted adolescence. So what happens is that while our heterosexual counterparts are, you know, at marrying age, when we're at marrying age, we're playing in each other's faces and still
In the
experimenting.
streets.
So we look up and we're alone because the years where usually people are pair bonding, we were still discovering who
But we were. Oh, that is good, bitch.
That's a good topic. That's good.
Bitch, that was good.
That was good point.
And wait, if you don't mind me saying, that explains why we see that 6 months in a relationship is, like you're at the golden age now, and it's like, no, but that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, that was good. Oh, you brought that down.
So
Yeah, he deserves a raise.
he deserves he deserves a raise. But that is the end of our conversation. I just want to remind y'all that it is okay to older guys. It is okay to mentor these younger guys, and young guys. It's okay to ask them for mentorship. We don't always community. We don't always have to look at each other for sex and all of that. So we can work together in other ways. So again, if you are in the DFW area and in need of HIV, syphilis, or PrEP, yes, call us at our number 214-393-3700. 214-393-3700. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night. And that was
The Tea!
Oh, Lord.
Freeze frame.
Ew.
Can't put on the ground.